Welcome back to Beauty Gains, episode 26. We have the Christopher Tuttle back in all of his glory.
It's been a minute.
So if you hear some heavy breathing or dip spitting or can crushing, that's why. So today...
I gotta stop with my nose breathing, I'm sorry.
You're not going to stop. You can't stop. So then you're just going to not breathe the whole time.
Yeah. Then you're going to start to see my face red, my veins start sticking on my forehead. I'm ready.
All right, guys, we're going to get it together. So Chris is here in, what would you call it? In trade of...
And I'm a...
As a stand-in.
I'm a replacement. So
he's a replacement of Ant. Ant was supposed to be on here with us together, so you weren't fully not going to be here anyway. But we're going to talk about training. So we're still going to talk about training, but probably not as in-depth as we were going to go because Ant just goes Rain Man on everything. But let's talk about your return to training and why you took so much time off and why it's important to get your ass back even though you've been gone for so long.
Yeah. I stopped training in like May, I think. I think a lot of it had to do with schedule, but that's me like not listening to a lot of stuff that we talk about being able to like find time to fit it in. I would train clients here from 5 to 7 in the morning. And I'd have to be at point at 8. So I'd have to leave right away. And then I was there all day and would come back. So the traveling in between and then starting here early, I just couldn't really find the time to commit to it. And then honestly, if I did have a free like hour out at that time, I would have rather have gone to the driving range to work on golf.
I feel like your golf has, from all the years that I've known you, I feel like this season and this year is the biggest golfing I've seen you doing.
Yeah. 2019, I golfed a lot. I golfed a shit ton in 2019. I stopped. I did not play it all last year, maybe one round. And then this year, obviously, because with Emerson and the pandemic and all that stuff, then this year I picked it back up again. I mean, I golfed my whole life. I'm obsessed with it. And there's like a direct correlation to what my strength and my golf swing. The stronger I am, the worse my golf swing is.
Okay.
No mobility.
Right. I was going to say, do you find that because you're very shortened and your mobility is shot? So while you're powerlifting and trying to lift your max, your golf is suffering.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if I did what I was supposed to do, like there is room in the golf world and the strength world to be able to coexist.
Right.
If you're doing the right things. I don't train the way a golfer should, nor do I. If you're not going to do that, you got to take the extra time to work on the 15, 20 minutes a day to work on your mobility. Be able to get the hand-hip separation, the thoracic mobility. It's like a big thing, and I just don't do that. I'm pretty straightforward with my training. I go in, warm up, and go. So you can do both, but you have to make a conscious effort.
Well, that's the same thing with anything. It's like me trying to balance jiu-jitsu and lifting heavy, you know what I mean? So it's all the small things that you don't want to take the time to do because they're small and they're boring and they don't give you the same, like, not like adrenaline, but they don't give you the same release as everything else does. So you're just like, if you only have an hour of the day, you're not going to quote unquote waste it, even though it wouldn't be a wasted time. It would actually be beneficial to you. Same thing with jiu-jitsu. If I worked on my mobility a lot more, then I wouldn't be like peeling myself off the mat when I'm done at the end of a roll.
I'd rather go for a 15 or 20 minute walk than do 15, 20 minutes of mobility.
I thought you were just going to say run. And I'm like, I can't believe you ran the other day.
I did run the other day for about 4 total minutes of the 45 minutes. Like I just do that to get a little sweat on my walk for the second workout of the 75 hard. But I love walking. Brandon never invites me on his walks.
But he always tags you with them.
It's nice, but I always see him and I wish that I was there with him. But those things, like little things like that, the focus has to shift. And I do think there was a huge correlation. Yeah, my golf game, I got probably the best I've ever been this summer. However, big mental gap and fog from not training like I was. Yeah. The energy, my testosterone levels, motivation, energy, everything was lacking because my training wasn't there. Yeah. And that's like it kind of messed me up a little bit in the summer, kind of get away from any type of routine. So I'm glad I'm back to be able to do that.
Before we go on to 2 things that I wanted to touch on from that, but I want to rewind back to you talking about golfing. Now you just got your certification in what?
I got my TPI certification, so Titleist Performance Institute. It's golf specific, to be able to run a full TPI assessment to really break down the mechanics and the biomechanics of the golf swing. So we run you through an assessment so much biomechanics go into a swing because there's so many different moving parts, and so much of it is not strength related. The skinniest dudes can hit the ball the farthest.
Right.
But if you're lacking any type of certain separation, your thoracic mobility, it's going to cause a certain fault in your swing, strictly because of the way your body's able to move. So that certification allows us to run that assessment, identify it, build a program to be able to correct it and work on it. And then there's another level that I'm going to be taking here soon as well.
So it's not necessarily, is it like a programming? So you're also programming them workouts, or is it just working on their swing?
That's where the other experience, the certifications come into play. That is not. Okay. That is identifying and then doing some correctives just for that, but it's no strength stuff in there. For the rest of that's strictly fixing the biomechanics of the way the body moves to help the swing and the swing faults and be able to improve it. So I think using like the other certifications and the experience we have here with that, going to be A+. I can't wait to get going with it.
Yeah. So if any golfers out there need some help, Fastwitch is going to be your facility.
We're setting up a monitor, swing nets. Like it's going to be pretty hot place to be this
It's
summer.
you and Melinda, right?
Yeah.
And then it was Dr. Tom trying to do it.
Yep.
Somebody else in here.
Dr. Tom and Dr. Carter both want to get it.
Okay.
The TPI is awesome because after you get past the first level, there's 3 other levels of level 2. So level 2, there's a fitness, which basically then would go to building a strength program for it. There's a professional, which is more for the swing. So essentially, you could really start giving lessons on the swing. And then there's the clinical piece of it, recovery, any injuries, stuff like that. So everyone has to get level 1, then you can go right to level 2 and kind of pick your more specific field. So Melinda's going to do the level 2 fitness. I'm going to do the level 2 professional. And then Dr. Tom or Dr. Carter are going to be doing the level 2 clinical.
Okay.
So under this roof, you're going to have every single specific area targeted and be able to attack it depending on whatever you're going through when you come in.
Now, I think about this all the time. When people do, and again, it's because fitness and everything has become like such a big deal now, and everybody's a trainer, everybody's a specialty in something or other. And I see a lot of people who try to promote their training as everybody does, because that's how you get business, right? You market towards the people that you're trying to train. So for that certification, it'd be golfers. Now, like in my mind, the things that every time, Jesus B.
He's the tech guy too.
Every time I see somebody marketing something, and I always want to know, like, what is the difference in like what you're trying to sell? So let's say somebody is trying to sell mobility or training for jiu-jitsu clienteles. It's like they're marketing it towards jiu-jitsu people because that's the clientele they want, right? But how different is it from what everybody should be doing? You know what I mean? So like we were just talking about with golf, with jiu-jitsu, with lifting in itself, all those corrective exercises are beneficial to everybody. So when people break it down into like a specialty, like these exercises are special towards golfers, these exercises are special towards football players, this, and this. It's this broad spectrum that people try to market. So I bring this up in the sense that I have a lot of people who bring up to me, they're like, oh, should I be doing this? I see that this person is a specialist in this, or a person that's a specialist in this, or they're marketing this mobility or this meditation or this workout programming towards a certain person. And then in their mind, because they don't have a background in like fitness or anything like that, so then in their mind, they should be doing training here, mobility with this person, then they go and see this other specialist, and then at one point they have 4 to 5 trainers, rather than kind of getting a program that works best for them. It kind of like puts them into overdrive. So what advice do you have for people who are kind of trying to navigate finding what they need most? You know what I mean? So we always say that it's beneficial to have cardio, to have mobility, to have strength, to have like all these different things that you need to get. And people, I think, want to try to get a specialist in every single thing rather than like a solid person who can put a program together for them.
Yeah, I think that goes back to, I think so much of it of people trying to do too much at once and trying to get the overnight fix. I think we talked about it the other day. Nothing is going to happen without like a good foundation in all those areas. So if you can identify some things that you want to improve on, whether it is all of those areas, strength, conditioning, mobility, whatever it is, there's a basic mobility program that you can do at home is going to benefit everyone. And as you get through that and start to get some of that foundational mobility, then when you want it to start to convert more towards a specific thing, like me doing my assessment for TPI mobility is not for an advanced jiu-jitsu person, it's not going to correlate the way it would for just improving the general mobility of a new person coming in. So without the basic understanding, the basic fundamentals and the foundation, people don't need to go target something specific. One coach for someone coming in new, whether and how, I guess, new to the industry of coaches, is still going to benefit everyone. Right. Like when you tell people to start to make a change or whatever, it's like, just cut out soda first. Yeah. Get rid of that. Get rid of once you can do a 20-minute walk, then you can start jogging. Right. You're not going to not do anything and go right to incline treadmill sprints. Yeah. So like that's a big, it's like the overnight and trying to do too much at once.
And it's also that people compare themselves to, so they see kind of where somebody else is, or like a professional athlete or somebody who's very competitive in what they're doing, whether it be sports, whatever it is. They see that this top person does, like during their day, they have this person cook for them. They do that, like all these different things. They're like, if that's the level that I want to get to, I have to do all of those things. It's like, first off, you're not that professional athlete. So while you're starting off and getting all of these foundations done with, you don't need to add all of these things onto it, because then you're just going to mentally burn out. You're going to physically burn out. So rather than going and looking for every little thing, and I think it's kind of anxiety driven in a sense too, that people are just like, oh, I have to get this, I have to get this, I have to get this. Same thing with when people buy like a bunch of shit, like when people buy like the Whoop watches, or people buy like the next best sleeve or the next best belt, and they think that all of these things are going to help them, but they're not actually paying attention to the foundation of their training in general. And that's where I was
going to do that. Like, I'm the perfect example. Like, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to get a Whoop because it's going to help me in my recovery and this. And I'm like, until I actively start paying attention and working on my recovery and saying, I'm going to go to sleep at 10. You wake up at 5 o'clock every day. So I need to be at least in bed by 10. Until I actually start making a conscious effort to do that, what is it going to tell me? It's just going to tell me I'm not recovered. Like, I already know that I am. I'm not making any changes. Yeah. And I did that same thing. I got pretty good at golf this summer to the point where like one part of my game was, I'm like, all right, well, I need to get a coach now. And I'm like, for what? I can't go to the range for an hour or 2 hours every single day. So why do I need a coach to do it? I need to work on stuff myself first, build my foundation until you go to make that next jump, until you can actually self-identify and start doing some stuff on your own. It's like that other stuff you're going to do it, it's not going to be sustainable.
And I remember I had one person come in, love him to death, but I was training him for a while, and then he had a few like injuries and setbacks and things like that. He had to get surgery, then he had to do this recovery and all these things. And then when he came back, he had like a Whoop watch, and he was like telling me like, oh, like explaining the whole thing to me, because like those things, yes, like I know what they're about, but like you said, I'm not fully invested into them, because the sense of exactly the story I'm about to tell you is, he came in, he was explaining his Whoop watch to me. I was watching all the levels or whatever they were go up, and his watch told him that he could perform at he could reach whatever level that was for the day. As I'm watching him physically as his trainer go through the motions of the exercises he was doing, and you can see that he's visibly fatigued or visibly like getting kind of out of breath. And then what I'm reading is he's like 5 levels down from the level that the watch told him that he could be at. So I'm visibly watching you, and you're just like, oh, it's only at this level, we can push harder. It's like, no, we can't. Like, your watch says that you are allowed to go here based on your recovery, but I'm physically watching you in your conditioned state right now, and you can not get to there. Because if we get you to there, because right now you're at this level and you already look like you need a immediate break. Yeah. So if I was to push you to whatever level it was, Like you would be in the bathroom throwing up.
Yeah.
And that's not what we're trying to achieve. You're just getting back into it now. So I don't care if your Whoop watch says that you could perform at level 12. You're at level 4 right now, and we need to tone it down.
The people that really benefit from those are the people that they understand their body, how it works, the level that they're at. That's why I think they're good once you get to a certain level. Like you said, throwing on a Whoop watch, getting a bunch of detox supplements is not going to change anything if you haven't built, again, the proper foundation to get to that point.
Yeah.
My thing is my goal right now is to get to a point where I actually think that I need and I'll use the Whoop. I want one because I think it would be sweet to be able to see. I would love to be able to look back and like look at my heart rate on the first tee box, or like when I'm golfing, stuff like that, where I'm like, I don't make enough conscious effort to recover properly now. Putting that on is not going to change anything for me, but I want to get to that point. And I think when people can do that, people that like Mark wears one. Mark is always on that, and he's always looking through it. Pretty much everything he does throughout the week is focused on those numbers, but he's got to that point.
Yeah, and Mark's also the type of person that like analytics are like his
numbers is everything.
Is his shit. He wants to know everything about all of that.
I fucking hate it.
I don't know. I think
I can't argue with him ever.
Yeah. But based on that too, it's not just like the level of your training. There are so many people who will want to jump into everything. So we were just talking about supplements a little while ago about like the Whoop watch and adding in all the supplements. People will come in and they're like, okay, I want to train. I want to get into it. So they'll ask me straight into nutrition, straight into what supplements do I need to get? I'll go out and buy all of them. I'm like, you don't need any supplements right now because you are literally doing nothing that is keeping you in like a routine yet. So for you to just come in and start your workouts, like think that you're going to change your nutrition overnight, you're not sleeping well, like everything's not in, like you said before, adding one thing at a time is going to be the most beneficial thing to you. So
That's slow play.
Even when I have clients come in, I ask them how their nutrition is and things like that, but we don't go over nutrition until they're probably like a month or two in here. Because now it's a new routine for them. Now their body is getting used to working out again, doing different things. And once they can routinely come in and show that they're already committed to that, then you add another thing in. I just had one of my younger girls, she just went back to college, but she still stayed training. So then before she was going back to school, she was coming in here with me twice a week, and then she was going to another gym, and that's what it was. So she was working out outside of here as well. And then when she started school, and I could see that, like, not motivation was down, but you could tell that, like, she wasn't continuing to progress how we wanted her to. So I was like, are you still doing your workouts when you're not here with me? And she kind of just gives that face, and she's like, no. So I'm like, okay, well, now we need to figure out a better schedule for you. So I made her come up with a schedule where she can fit in 3 more, at least 45-minute workouts realistically. So that's the other thing, is not just saying that you're going to do something, So it's not like, oh, I'm going to add another 3 days of working out in. It's like, okay, well, where? So you're not just going to come in here Tuesdays and Fridays, and then you're going to wake up Saturday and be like, oh, I guess I could fit a workout in. It's not going to work out that way. Because like you said, when you're so busy doing other things and you're not having it scheduled into your day as to like, this is my time slot to work out, I have it out. So you are going on, oh, I have this hour. Should I work out? No, I'm going to go golf. So when you physically schedule something in and make that commitment to yourself, it's already there for you. It already makes sense to you.
Yeah, it's non-negotiable. It's
right.
Like missing a meeting.
Your time is carved out for the day.
Yeah.
So she was like, okay. So she went back home. She sent me this color-coded schedule where she came up with the times of the different days where she's going to fit in her workouts, whether it's at the gym at school or whether it's going to the gym when she has time at home. So it's not, and as a trainer, you should be doing this with your clients too. So you shouldn't just be like, oh, make sure you're getting your workouts in outside of here. Help them schedule things. That's also why they hired you. So if you're just a trainer who is only really thinking about when your client comes in with you and you give them no routine, no tangible anything to go with, do you actually expect them to hold to it. So some people do. Some people already have a routine. They just came in to train with you because they want to level up. So like Christine already works out. We know Christine works out like twice a day. So I'm not worried about Christine working out. You know what I mean? Because she already had that. She just added in. But if you have people that are coming in who don't have a normal gym routine already, you need to help them set that up realistically, because then you're just leaving them to hopefully go in.
Well, then once you feel what it's like when you're out of it, like I'm a huge routine guy. That's what fucked me up so bad this summer. So, and I like scheduling everything out. Now, if he has something he asks me to do, it's really, he can either look at my schedule or I just have to send him a screenshot of my schedule. Like if I'm going to Lulu in the middle of the day, it's going to be in my schedule for an hour. I'm going to the PJ Superstore, maybe 2 hours. But he'll know if it's open, it's kind of fair game. And then stick to it. So this summer, my schedule was fucked. Some days I was at point early, some days I wasn't. But right now, and how it's been the last 4 years, Ashley always asks me, why the hell do you still train people at 5 a.m. every day if you don't get home from point until 9? My first half of my day until about 4 o'clock every day is 100% routine scripted. I can't change that. I would rather be tired at 4:30 when I wake up thinking about just fucking how bad I really need a job every morning when I wake up or my alarm goes off. But when I'm up, that's part of my routine. If I sleep till like 7 during the week now, I'm so fucked up. I can barely function. I don't want to work out. I have no motivation. That part's done. The evenings for me are not scripted, and they're a little haywire because things change. Sometimes I get Emerson, sometimes I don't. But knowing every day, 5 to 7, train people, I work out some form of workout at 7 a.m. And then the rest of the day is scheduled out clients meets, whatever it may be. But I know how it starts every day, which I love, because usually for me that's a whole tone. Like I said, when that's off, it really, really messes me up. And like I said, if you block into your schedule when your workout is and you view it as skipping a client, skipping a meeting, whatever it is, then you won't do it and you're going to feel so much better. And I think using those basic fundamentals when you're talking about nutrition, when you're talking about anything else, is really going to help go along with the cutting out soda. Just start with that. People, if someone comes in like, I drink a shit ton of soda, just cut that out. You're going to see a change. Then go to the next. And it's to your point of the girl that went to college. It's setting like realistic expectations are the only way that you're going to be able to continue to move forward. I love when I talk to college kids about it. We'll go through the summer. They'll be doing great. Like, all right, what's going to happen? I look at them all. I'm like, dude, you don't have to pretend to me. I know you're going to go out and drink Fridays and Saturday nights. So you know you are. I know you are. So let's not go in pretending that you're not. Yeah. You're going to work out at 6 a.m. Saturdays. But prepare for it. Get an extra workout in during the week. Drink a bunch of water Friday. Make sure you plan something early Sunday so you can get up and sweat it out. Plan for it, but don't plan that you're not going to. Yeah. I went to a wedding and I was like, I'm not going to drink this wedding. So I want to have a good week. I'm not. And Ashley's like, all right, yeah, you're right. Drunkest I got at any wedding all summer. Just pounding IPAs. But going there and knowing that, not having the realistic expectation, or having the realistic expectation that I knew I was going to. Yeah. If I went there thinking I wasn't, it would have fucked me up even more. Yeah. Just knowing that you can plan around it. You don't have realistic expectations about anything you're doing, whether it's fitness or whatever. You can't plan for the outcome. If you go in with the right expectations, you're going to be able to actually plan for the outcome and then be able to continue to move forward and grow from it. Yeah. I think that's a big, big thing for it.
You also, like you were saying, you also kind of have to have a game plan. So when people first start, there it goes. Fantastic. When people go into like events, let's say they're going to a party, they have a wedding, it's their birthday.
I plan for the whole next day being a wash because I'm going to have as many beers as humanly possible, and that time I'm allotted to do whatever I want. So, but going into it, a lot of the time when people start doing nutrition or people are losing weight and then they're scared to go out, they're like, I don't want to go out because then I'm going to drink and I'm going to mess everything up. It's like, you can do a bunch of different things to kind of have a game plan for that. So one, control yourself, but that's hard. You know what I mean? So like if you're used to being a person who goes out and likes to enjoy themselves, this whole thing isn't supposed to be you like taking away like everything that you love in your life. Like this isn't something that's torturous. This is supposed to be something that's beneficial to you, something that you want. So when you go out and you have friends who aren't on a fitness journey with you,
who think what you're doing is dumb. So I have a lot of clients who will text me and they'll be like, they've lost like 5 pounds and they have like a party. And they're like, oh, all of my friends and my family were like taunting me with like all the food that they were eating. It's like, one, that fucking sucks. Don't do that to people. If somebody is trying to achieve a goal and you're going to like put something in front of their face because like, one, you don't understand why they're doing what they're doing, or two, like it makes you feel a type of way that you're indulging and they're not. It's like, leave them alone.
Yeah.
Because that's the most annoying thing, especially when somebody doesn't really have that, they don't really have that ability to control themselves yet. So like for me,
and it's not cool to eat bad. So like, if someone's not eating pizza with you, don't be like, what a fucking loser.
Yeah, but a lot of people like to do that. A lot of people like to put that onto themselves because then they don't want to feel like they're doing something wrong. So you guys distract me so much when we do these things. On this side over here. Nope, you're not going to reach it from there. Okay. But a lot of the time when people are trying to achieve something or they're doing that, they don't really have the willpower to not give in to you yet. So for me, for cutting weight from jiu-jitsu for so long, I was so used to my friends being like, why aren't you drinking? Why aren't you eating? Why are you eating a bunless burger? It's just like, I don't give a shit. Like, because at that point I had been doing it for so long that I don't care what everybody else says. But when people are first starting out, it is kind of like they already want to be eating that. You know what I mean? So you putting it in front of their face is just fucking mean.
Yeah.
Like,
I just won't go. Like when you
right, you've said that before, is that you won't go.
I'll find something else to do that's fun. So I'm not going to sit and like look at everyone's Instagram stories that's at the party. I'm just going to go do something else that I like to do. Yeah. Because, I mean, look, I love being alone. Like, I will sit there and watch sports or a movie on the couch by myself, or I'll go to the movies by myself. I don't care. So, like, for me, if I'm not going out and doing that, that's fine. Like, I didn't go to Austin for the last week. Mm-hmm. Like, I wanted to go. Yeah. But I didn't really want to go because I didn't want to go drink and I didn't want to do that shit. But I got to spend the entire week, got a ton of time with Ashley and Emerson. So, it's like, you have things that you want to do maybe more, and it helps you get towards like your goals and the outcomes that you want. But
like I was saying before with a game plan, if you know that you're going to go somewhere and let's say this is the other thing, if you have like an immediate like weight loss goal, like you have to make weight for a tournament and it's a month away, that is the time where I'm going to be like, what's more important to you? So that's what you have to figure out, is what is actually important to you. Is going out and having fun and enjoying yourself important to you, or is making sure that you make weight for a tournament that you've been training for months important to you? So you have to kind of take responsibility for that and take ownership of that. But if you have like an overall like general weight loss, it's going to take some time anyway. If you're going out like once a month, like very sparingly, you're not drinking every day of the week, and you have a game plan, okay, I know that I'm going out with this group of friends. I know that they're a bunch of savages. There's going to be drinks. There's going to be food. This is this. Give yourself like an allotment. So let's say like, okay, if I go out and they're going to be bothering me or whatever, I'm going to have one drink. And if I have one drink, I'm going to make sure that I drink like 5 glasses of water and my eating will be on point. So I've had this with one of my teammates where he's like, I'm out, there's burgers, there's pizza, there's beers, there's all this stuff. I'm like, okay, well, you're pretty close to weight. You have however far away. You haven't been eating shit, but you're either picking the burger or you're picking the 2 beers. You're not having both. Which one do you want more? And then make sure that you're drinking a shit ton of water on top of it.
So much of that goes into the planning piece of it, right. Routine, right? So if you know you're going out, do not fucking go out hungry. Mm-hmm. Do not go out thirsty. Have your good food fill up before. Bring water, drink water. Like it's like they say, you never want to go grocery shopping when you're hungry. Buy a bunch of shit.
Yeah, you go through aisles that you've never been in before.
Exactly. So you don't want to go. If you're gonna put yourself in those situations, make sure you eat your stuff before. You don't want to go there on an empty stomach because you're gonna be like, I'm so hungry. Give me that fucking cookie.
Yeah.
You know, so plan ahead.
You're eating it in the aisle as you're fucking going.
Yeah, and like, but as you said, it's okay to go and drink and do whatever you want as long as it lines up with the goals you have at that time, and your goals can change and shift, and that's fine. Yeah. My goals were completely different this summer than they were in the winter than they are now physically, I didn't care what I would go if I would how many calories I took in drinking, right? At that time all summer. Like, I knew it was coming and it's okay, and it made me enjoy it a lot more. Because if you're gonna go and you're still gonna do it, but you're gonna have anxiety about it, you're not really gonna fully enjoy it anyway. So is it really worth it?
Yeah.
So like understanding that at that time that those decisions, actions have to line up with where you're at. And again, it can constantly change. But if you're going, you have a weigh in, and you're going out and you're doing how important is that weigh in actually to you? You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't really line up. I do the hit for men with the drinking bigger than any caloric intake is the testosterone. And I think that's greatly overlooked, the effects that alcohol has on the testosterone, and then obviously the effects that testosterone, predominantly in men, have on your body and training. Like I've said it a few times before, but your testosterone levels decrease when you take in alcohol. It's a scientific fact. Like it'll last up for up to 4 days or 72 hours. Sorry, 3 days. So if you go out Friday, Saturday night, test levels aren't back to peak levels, peak performance training till Wednesday. You're going to get Wednesday, Thursday of training, and then you're going to get and then you're going to go out Friday, Saturday. You're negating your workout Friday. You're getting 2 good days of training, and look at someone that's not drinking. They're going to get 6 good peak performance, peak level training in a week. Do the math over the course of a month.
Yeah.
It's 24 to 8, 2 months, 48 to 16.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference in men, and they need to understand that.
And that's the difference between somebody starting over you or you starting. That's the difference between you winning a match and you losing a match sometimes. It's just your ability to stay in the game.
And it slows down all your cognitive functions as well. Like it's a big thing. It's not just the hangover, and it doesn't go away in one day.
Yeah.
Your cognitive function and skills are still not to the level that they would be if you were at peak performance level for a couple of days after you drink. Your hands are slower, your eyes are slower. I knew dudes that used to take Viagra before baseball games when they would drink because it enhances all your motor function. Rurik knows. He was telling me about it. He does it before we golf.
Did you guys golf yet?
No.
No.
We're working on it. Maybe this weekend.
Look at you guys.
I have to go to Pennsylvania for a birthday party.
But with that, I know that we had spoken about this. I forget which podcast we had spoken about, but I know I've spoken about it because one of Rue's clients always says that she remembers me saying something about binge drinking and how you're not. Because when I was in college, we had a person come in and like sit all the athletes down and talk about drinking and everything like that. And they were talking about how if you binge drink on like a Saturday, you're not an athlete again until like Tuesday, Wednesday, like you were talking about. And I think it's funny because people don't understand that the definition of binge drinking is like really just 3 drinks. Yeah. And people are like, how is that binge drinking? I literally don't even have a buzz yet. I'm like,
have you seen that meme with the drinking?
No.
Or it was a meme of my brother. I think he told me, he was like,
it was a meme of your brother?
No, it was a meme. But then my brother, I think it happened to him. He went to the doctor for a physical. The guy's like, all right, how many drinks do you have, over the course of a week or something? My brother was like, 6. He was like, whoa, you need to slow down. 6 drinks a week is a lot. He was like, no, like a night. He's like, whoa. Or I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, but people don't understand that you binge drinking does not equal blacking out. That's not binge drinking.
No, that's just fun.
That's like almost getting alcohol poisoning at that point. Binge drinking is literally 3 drinks is binge drinking. So when people hear that, they're like, I fucking binge drink every day of the week then.
Dude, the one constant that you see with really any of the bodybuilders, any of the top level athletes, like they just don't drink alcohol. And again, that's a decision I've made, and I've vocalized it many times. I'm not willing to sacrifice having some beers for a 6-pack. I know that if I wanted to, I could, and it would be challenging, but it could be done. That's a part of my life that I enjoy doing. Now, right now, I'm not doing it for set. It's like a challenge I'm doing with myself, but I won't sacrifice going out to dinner and having a couple drinks or a couple drinks to celebrate something. But I think Michael Phelps talked about it. He didn't miss a workout or have a drink for 5 years. 365 days, 5 years. That is insane. The reason why he was the best swimmer on the planet for fucking 12 years. Right.
And that kind of brings back to what we were talking about earlier. It's just like, oh, Michael Phelps hasn't had a drink or missed a workout in 5 years. I shouldn't be drinking or missing a workout in 5 years. Like, is your goal to be an Olympic athlete? You know what I mean? So you also have to kind of be honest with yourself in that sense. Like, people have goals, and I'm not here trying to like be a Debbie Downer on people, but you know the level of athletics that you're going to reach. You know what I mean? So if you are killing yourself trying to make sure that A through Z is on point because you think that you're going to be an Olympic athlete and you're 35 years old, it's like,
Are you telling me I still can't make the PGA Tour?
you might be able to. You know, every time we talk about you golfing, I can't stop thinking about the story about you crying when you were in high school.
We're not going back there.
But wait, we won't go there then, because I still had something else before I forget. So I've been working those golf events, right? And when I'm there, it's free beverage besides like the hard alcohol, you know what I mean? So all the guys that are in the groups and they want to like rip shots or they want their mixed drinks, and there was one guy out of like 3 groups and he just doesn't drink. And they were all like, oh, blah, blah, all of them wasted. And he like walked away. I'm like, you were really against it like that bad that you don't even want to like stand in on the cheers. And he's like, I can't be bothered by it. He was just like, and then he said something about,
no, that's me when I golf and drinking. I don't drink when I golf because it fucks with my game.
He wasn't even talking about golf though. He was pretty much talking about just like how he likes having his body nice or something like that. He said it in a very weird way. But I'm like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I get that you don't want to drink, and that's fine. But you also don't have to be that person that's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, they're like indulging, they're like savages, whatever, I'm going to walk away. Like, they're cheersing to the person whose event this is about, somebody that was in like an accident, who's like paralyzed and all this stuff. It's like, you don't have to be that serious about it. Like, at least stand there with them. So that's what
people
we're just...
have those views of him in training or drinking water. Like, everyone's got their own shit.
So that's what that's the other side of the spectrum, though, is what we were talking about earlier, when people who are trying to be healthier and people are rubbing it in their face and they're not bothering you about what you're eating, but you're going to bother them that they're not eating what you are. But then it's at the opposite spectrum when people like look at others in disgust, like, oh, you're drinking, or oh, you're doing this. It's like, why does that bother you? Like, everybody just needs to, like, I posted something about mind your own business, pretty much.
Yeah, I saw that last night. I was like, shit, someone pissed Jess off yesterday.
I get very like protective over my clients and over people, and it has nothing to do with me thinking in the sense that somebody was telling my client that they were doing something wrong, you know what I mean? Because I'm very confident that my clients are very well trained, all of them form very well, and it's just people that reach out on Instagram to them and who are giving their unsolicited advice or things like that. And like I was talking about earlier about leaving people alone about what they're eating or what they're choosing to do because maybe they don't have that willpower yet. What I was writing on it, on like why you should mind your own business, it's like, if you get into somebody's head who is finally on a correct path and you're trying to bring them down or tell them they're doing something wrong or tell them that they're supposed to be doing something different, it just overstimulates people. There's already so much information out there that people are trying to navigate through. So for you to just comment to somebody like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, you should be doing this. First off, what is your background to be giving them any sort of advice? And if something works for you, that doesn't mean it's going to work for them. So it's just like, if you're going to deter somebody from the path that they're on because you think that they should be doing something different or you think something else is beneficial, it's like I said, if they didn't hire you or they didn't ask you for your advice, you're not in conversation about something, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I can't.
No, I know that's actually what I was thinking right before. That's a perfect segue into it, is that like comes from both sides. Some people aren't going to want to hear this. Like, genetics are a real thing. Mm-hmm. So we sit here, we talk about, well, people, if you want a six-pack, don't drink. Dude, I got tons of friends that are fucking 6% body fat that drink 100 beers plus a week, right? Still rip.
Yeah.
Genetics are real. Look at my genetic makeup in Santo. Mm-hmm. Look at his quads, mm-hmm. right? I squat more than him. Look at the size of his quads, right? Genetics are a real thing, and it's kind of like, You have to identify it and then work with what you have. Mm-hmm. And there's people that can't gain weight. There's people that are so easy to gain weight. I would say like for me, my genetic makeup with no lifting or anything is just I'm like a skinny fat person.
I'm
like
the same.
That's my body type.
I'm the same.
And I retain more fat, than a lot of people. It's a little easier for me to put on some muscle sometimes than some people, but I also put on fat. So like you just gotta identify and understand what you have, and you can't. It's fucking cliche to say don't compare yourself to other people, but it's really it's so fucking true, because you're gonna get caught up in trying to do things overnight and have 6 different coaches if you're trying to compare yourself to someone that just is fucking genetically different. Chris Tuttle and Simeon Panda are 2 completely different fucking genetic makeups, right? You know what I'm saying? We're the same age, all right? That dude, it is what it is, and you can't pretend there's an equal fucking distribution of.
And that's
calf fucking muscles, in everyone's DNA.
The calves, man.
Yeah.
But that's like some of the girls I train. And people ask me all the time how long I've been working out to look the way that I do. There's never not been a time that I've been working out. Since we've been young, we've been athletes, and then they put you in the weight room, and then in college, same thing, and then we've become trainers. So it's literally, there's not, you can't really ask that, because we've been doing that forever. So that's another point that somebody the other day asked me what I eat. And I don't like telling people what I eat. It's not that I don't like telling them it, but it's like, unless you're doing what I'm doing, then what I eat is not going to work for you. Like, yes, I follow, right now, not very strictly, but yes, there are macros that you follow. And at this point, it's just like second nature. I just eat the same thing all the time. But I eat on top of that, because I've been trying to put on size. And from being a trainer, moving around all day, then I go upstairs, move around all day at the PT place, then I go to jujitsu, burn off that, then I lift. So it's like, unless you're having that output that I'm having, and it sucks to tell you, but you can't eat like me. You can't afford to eat the bullshit that like I can throw in every now and then. Does my body still get affected by it? Yes. If I have a lot of sugar, does my body feel like shit because there's so much inflammation in my body from eating 3 donuts from Krispy Kreme? Yes. So like those are all things that like our body still gets affected by, but we burn it off. So if you're not doing the same output as somebody and you're looking at them like, how are you in that shape and you're eating donuts? How are you in that shape but you're doing this? It's like, you have to know what the person does throughout their whole day, not just the fact that I work out. My entire job is moving around. And then both of my hobbies are moving around even harder. So if you're somebody who only like goes to not saying only, it's good if you go to the gym. If you go to the gym,
work is not active.
Right.
Well.
If you're sitting down at a desk all day long and then you go to the gym for like an hour and a half a day, yes, we're working out the same, but no, we're not doing the same output throughout the day. So that's another thing you have to take into consideration as well.
Well, and everyone's body metabolizes things differently. I actually I was able to do a genetic swab test to really see my genetics, which unfortunately to say it came back, and I actually am predominantly made up of slow twitch muscle fibers. Disclosure for the brand.
So you should go on nice runs.
So I should just not be a part of fast twitch apparently. But my body surprisingly metabolizes carbs a lot faster than it metabolizes fats. When I saw that and I made a switch and I upped my carbs, dropped my fats, just like I used to never eat a bagel, never eat it.
Yeah.
So I started shredding off fat. I haven't been above 16% since then. And I used to sit and walk around predominantly around like 18%. Just from upping my carbs. And now I'm not scared of carbs. So understanding that you might metabolize fats faster. You don't know.
On a general kind of scale, men can utilize carbs better than females can, and females can utilize fats better. So that's why I talk to a lot of females about this, and it all depends. So you can't just say like, oh, I'm a female, I burn fats off better. If you have different thyroid issues, if you have different conditions where you're sensitive to certain things, those are all special circumstances where you might not be able to.
What's your thoughts on like pre-post like training? Food, shakes. So you see a lot of people, the big thing right now is like Rice Krispie cake right before a workout. Are you big into that? Like being okay with kind of, getting a little spike before sugar, insulin?
So the whole thing with, if you're going to utilize things like that, I think it's also not like an excuse. Yes, there is science behind everything that people go through, but I find that a lot of people hold on to that fact and like run with it a lot. So they're like, oh, I'm about to work out. I'm going to eat like all of this, like, and we eat our gummy bears throughout the workout, like in between sets.
Throughout
And
the day.
and
Sour strips, Brandon.
Yeah. Where are
Those
they?
are nice.
So like with things like that to me is also, like we were talking about before, the level at which you're at. So am I going to tell my clients who are just coming in, make sure that you're having like your sugar post pre-workout, and then make sure that you're getting your protein in? You know what I mean? So it's like, my view on it is that I don't really follow that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't really either. If I have a lot of stuff throughout the day earlier and I feel well fueled enough to get a good workout in, I won't do it. If I'm didn't eat, and I really don't like training fasted anymore. If I didn't eat before, and maybe I'll grab something, and I won't care what it is.
Right. So that's the thing. I literally just had this conversation with a girl the other day. It was when I was at one of the golf outings, and I hadn't eaten. And for me, like, I need to be eating.
Same.
So then it was either eat nothing or they had like burgers and hot dogs. And I was like,
you're going to crush them.
I was like, I ate 2 burgers in front of her, and she looked at me and she was just like, you eat that shit? And I was like, first off, it's literally just ground beef
and carbs,
on a bun.
Good carbs. Not good carbs.
And I was just like, yeah, like if it's between me not eating and me eating something that's not super healthy, I'm going to eat. And then she's like, oh, I'm opposite. She was just like, if it's a choice between eating and eating shit, I'm not going to eat.
If you're exercising, it is always way, way worse, more detrimental to undereat than overeat.
Right.
Now, if you're someone who's not working out, honestly, terrible thing to say, better for you to undereat. At least you're going to start to drop a little weight. But if you are active and you are working out to any capacity, it's going to be better for you to overeat than undereat. At least you can start to develop some, put on some muscle. It's going to obviously burn some of that fat off and use that for energy. But I'm the same way. And I do it all the time when I golf.
Yeah.
I don't pack food when I golf. 5-hour round. I have breakfast.
You're hoping the cart girl drives around and gives you some snacks.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you have in there? Peanut butter crackers, but I'll crush a hot dog, burgers, whatever out on the course, no problem. I put this up on my story last night, and it's something I talk about all the time. You go back, I had a bunch of people respond last night. For duration of training, we talk about weights. All right. What do you think that there's overtraining? You think people are in the gym if you work out for 2 hours too long? Like,
so a lot of the time, I don't think that. Think about 2 hours, right? Think about having a plan for a workout. You have 5 exercises you're supposed to get done. Let's say even if one is you're supposed to have like 2-minute rest in between your main lifts. Even at that point, those 5 exercises shouldn't take you 2 hours. And I can say this out of experience because I am the slowest exerciser ever. I feel like people bring their clients in and out and I'm still not done. I have to fit my workout in an hour and I only get 2 out of the 5 done. What are you doing during that time? I know that not that I'm bullshitting around, but I'm taking too long of a break in between, you know?
If you're using the gym as an escape, and do 2 hours is fine.
Yeah.
If you're training for it's too long and you're not optimizing either your rest, you're spending too much time on your phone, whatever it is. I am at my peak strength. Take away the warm up, probably just actually lifting weights for maybe 40 minutes. Maybe.
Right.
Like,
but
I'm done weightlifting after 35 minutes.
Right. So back to your question, in that sense, with 40 minutes of your workout, you wouldn't think that you're overtraining there. It's Jesse. You're not overtraining there really because you have 40 minutes in there. You're doing your exercises. You have the right amount of rest in between them. If somebody's in the gym for 2 hours and they're working out for that entire 2 hours, like you're probably fatiguing your muscles out, right? At that point. If you're in the gym for 2 hours, but you're kind of an exerciser like me who kind of just like, all right, I got to roll this out again. I got to move around. And that's just happened in the last couple of months. I don't know if it's my motivation or what it is, but my workouts have been taking like way too long to the point where sometimes I don't even fit in all of my exercises. Don't tell Ant. Actually, fuck Ant because he's not here.
I'll tell you this. 3 levels. I've been or 2 different Division 1 schools, a Division 1, 1A, and shadowed a couple NFL workouts. Every single one of those at the athletes at the highest level, they're in and out in an hour. That includes a warm-up. That includes mobility. That includes some sort of conditioning inside, whether it's upper body, condo, lower body, footwork, and a lift, main lift and accessories, in and out, 40 people at a time in 1 hour. If you feel the need to go for go for 2 hours, and again, if it's an escape and you're like, and you don't have anything else to do, that's fine. But if you're someone who struggles to get workouts in, you don't need more than 35, 40 minutes. And you can fuck yourself up in 35. Like, you can get a really good workout in. And
that's circles back to what we've been talking about this whole time, is having a plan for yourself. So if you're somebody who needs to write down how much rest time you should have in between sets to keep you on track when you're in the gym, write down your rest times. I almost said charger on. Put your timer on. So I know sometimes Ant will give us like legit rest periods, so 90 seconds or 180 seconds because of team builders like that. But having the know of how long you're supposed to have rest in between it can kind of, one, keep you from overtraining in the sense that you're not doing them too close together. Because I find a lot of the time when I have clients, they don't like to take a break because they just want to get it over with.
Mine are way too quick.
Yeah, mine are probably way too long. So we're on opposite spectrum. That's why you're in and out.
I get really
and you're
fucking
done.
Bored now. Unless I'm deadlifting or squatting, I hate resting.
All my clients are just like, okay, can I go again? I'm like, no. Like, take the dumbbells out of your hands. Your grips have been on them for a good 2 minutes now. Like, you need to take a rest in between. Let them relax a little bit so that you can contract them again. So at that point with the overtraining, it's just knowing where your rest breaks are supposed to be in. But again, we keep going back to the thought of don't go crazy over all of these things. You know what I mean?
You don't need to do 15 exercises for chest either.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't be doing over like 6 exercises, but maximize those 6 exercises. If that, like 5 to 6 exercises, maximize them. Use your tempos correctly. Use your rest periods correctly. Use your rep ranges correctly. Like, that's how you should be challenging yourself. It's next week, don't add 5 new exercises because you didn't destroy yourself last week. You're not supposed to be destroying yourself to the point where you're sore until your next chest day.
When I get a new person in, our workouts usually start at 20 minutes for the first week. Then we go to 30 and we never go more than 45.
So this is the biggest thing that I think that people have like a misconception about, and that I try to reiterate to people all the time, is when you're working out and you're breaking down muscle, right? What are you doing? You're breaking down muscle. So we all know that in order to build muscle up, you have to break it down. It builds itself back, right? If you're not giving yourself your recovery for your muscle to build itself back, your muscle is in a constant state of being torn down. So there's no gains to be had.
Zero
gains if you're not allowing yourself or your body to recover and have that building period. Yep. If you're just constantly like, oh, I'm going to do 4 to 5 leg days a day every time I'm going to squat, you're just tearing and tearing and tearing, and you're not giving any time for your muscle to build back up.
You can only perform as hard as you can train, and you can only train as hard as you can recover. So you always have to start at the bottom and work up. If you can't recover, you can't train. If you can't train, you cannot perform. It's as simple as that.
And along with that, we were talking about clients and things like that, and people wanting to do too much. So people who are like, get the gym bug or get a golf bug, jujitsu bug. And I have people who come in and they work out, and I'm like, when are your off days? And then they're like, I don't have an off day. They're like, I just do jujitsu on this day. I'm like, no, your body is still under stress there. Your body is still, even though you're not lifting weights, you're still pushing people off you. You're still getting back up.
You haven't even tapped into the central nervous system piece of it yet.
Right. So just being overtrained at that point. Yeah. So it's just like working out jujitsu, going to jujitsu 5 days a week, and then you're going to the gym 7 days a week. More doesn't mean better for you. You need to have days where you're not necessarily doing nothing and just laying on the couch and absolutely just being a vegetable, but you do need days where you're not putting your body under stress. Those days, and that's why people will separate their lower body days, upper body days, so that they can recover, so that they built themselves back up, and now you can tear them down again for them to build themselves back up. That's where you get your gains from, not from pushing yourself every single day of the week, never having a deload week, never having a rest day. More is not better. You need to, again, find a program that your body can perform best under. Figure out what days of the week, like we just talked about, schedule yourself, put yourself into a routine. What days of the week work best for you for having a rest day? Maybe it's your busiest day of the week. Maybe it's a day that you kill yourself for the first 2 days, you take a day off, then you train the next 2 days, and then you have to find what works best for you. But I just want to drive into your head, doing more is not necessarily better. You have to have that rest in order to get your gains, period.
Just educate yourself on whatever area you want to go into, build it into your routine, repeat. That's it. Stay committed to it. So find out what you want to do, teach yourself a little bit about it, talk to a coach to educate and inform yourself on that, whatever topic you're talking about or going into training, build it into your routine with realistic expectations and just follow that. And then obviously you have to allow yourself to be able to adjust, self-identify any issues and adjust and change accordingly. And fail fast. I would say just fail fast, learn. If your body doesn't feel good, if you're not seeing the results you want, if you don't feel good and you don't like it, it's okay. Just fail fast to learn fast and move on. Yeah.
And once you learn your body, you don't necessarily, you want to catch yourself before you get into that overtrained state. You know what I mean? So again, in the beginning, you're going to feel yourself out. You're going to feel great. And then first month, 2 months into it, you're going to be like, why am I so tired? It's like, well, you've been training 7 days a week for however many days in a row now.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of on your ass and then you take a day off and then you do it again. It's like, already know that that's going to happen. Build those rest days in, build those deload weeks in. And again, if you don't know how to do that, get somebody who is knowledgeable on how to. Stop searching for 5 different specialty trainers if you're just starting off. Specialty people come once you finally have that foundation down. Write your schedule down, make yourself a routine, and hold yourself to it.
And next time we will talk about the central nervous system because I think that's a big piece of it.
Yes. Pound.
Peace.
Wait, I have to say goodbye.
Oh, sorry.
Now I don't remember how I say goodbye.
Brandon, how does she say goodbye?
Oh. All right. I guess I say, see ya, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.